Hello, I'm here with Lucy Lynch from English Lacrosse, and we're talking about juggling a full-time job and being an elite athlete. Hi Lucy.
Hi.
So, what job is it that you do, and what are the challenges that you face with doing that and the commitments with lacrosse?
So primarily I'm a teacher, but I'm also a house mistress, so I look after a boarding house of 60 girls, which is fantastic and I love it, but it doesn't always go brilliantly hand in hand with being an elite athlete, because my busiest time at work is in the evenings and the weekends, and that's where normally people do a lot of their training when they're trying to combine work and training. So I fit my training in when I can during the day, usually in between lessons, and I'm also really fortunate to have an employer that is so supportive of my lacrosse pursuits. And actually this World Cup in July will be the third World Cup I've played in whilst working for the same school, so they've been really patient and really supportive for a long time.
So your situation is slightly unusual to the 9 to 5, but what would your advice be to anyone that either has a job similar to yours or has a 9 to 5?
I think, well, I know when I went for my interview a long time ago, I was very honest and upfront about, what I thought I could bring to my role at work, but also what I was doing outside of work, so that my employers knew what they were getting into. And I was also keen to sell actually the advantages of having an employee that is kind of trying to get the best out of themselves in other areas of their life, not just their work.
And what are the benefits that you find with your elite sport and working?
I think maybe this is job specific, but I think probably the number one thing is teamwork. So working with my teammates in lacrosse means that I can bring so much more to the times when I have to work as a team at work. So whether it be the other staff in my boarding house or the other members of staff in the PE department, that teamwork aspect I think is really important, and I'm sure any employer would want someone with that sort of characteristic. And also probably just discipline and maybe some mental toughness thrown in there. Those are things that I think you have to learn as an elite athlete, and it can be really useful in the workplace too.
And there's also a more direct crossover, isn't there, in your particular circumstances that you bring to the team?
So I'm one of, we call it the Six Senses, so it's just a leadership group within the squad, and we're really a platform between the rest of the players and the coaches. So we're trying to pass information up and down and really look after everyone in the squad. So in a way that's kind of similar to what I do at work when I'm looking after the 60 girls in my boarding house, trying to look after the rest of the girls in the squad too.
Excellent, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm here with Sophie Brett of English Lacrosse, and we're talking about marginal gains. So Sophie, it's said that at the top level of sport, the difference between winning and losing is only 1%. How have you and the England team been preparing and making these marginal games before the World Cup?
So there's a few things. So as individuals, we all commit to making ourselves that tiny bit better, whether it's working with our S&C coach, working with our psychologist, or having that feedback from the coaches, if it's to do with skill, tactical element, anything at all. But if we all commit to getting that tiny bit better, that will contribute to the team goal. We also work on doing a few things really, really well, rather than a lot of things in an average way. So as well as that, now we're getting closer to the World Cup, we rehearse every single scenario that could arise. So when we get to those big games, we'll know exactly what to do and how to counteract other teams. Depend on the scoreline, the time left, what we have in our back pocket. So we work hard on that.
And you mentioned there the psychology. So are there any things that you do kind of just before the game to get yourselves in the right frame of mind for it?
So there's different things that different people do. So they might do like mental rehearsal or positive talk. But a team thing we do is all listening to the same team song before we go out onto the pitch. It's the last song that's played. We all sing our hearts out, all just dance, have a bit of a relaxing time in the change room, and then it's game faces on and we're out.
And the obvious question is, what song's that?
Celine Dion, It's All Coming Back to Me Now.
Right, wow. And I guess finally, in terms of the World Cup, obviously it's being hosted in England, so do you think that will provide an advantage and give you that kind of marginal gain for the performance in the World Cup?
Yeah, well, we're obviously lucky in the fact that we won't have jet lag. We'll be used to the facilities, used to the food. A massive advantage will be the fact that we'll have our friends and family in the crowd supporting us, which is amazing for us. But ultimately, we're treating it like any other top-level competition that we've been in before, no matter where we're being played. So,
Great, thanks Sophie.
Free positions are lacrosse's version of penalties. So what happens is the attacker lines up on a hash mark, and there are three main ways that they can score a goal from here. When the whistle goes, they can either take one step and power it as hard as they can towards the goal. They can run it in and protect their stick and then go for a placement shot around the goalie. Or if there's somebody free on the bottom of the crease, then they can pass the ball off to them so they can take the shot.
So there's 3 times that a draw can happen. It's the beginning of the game, after half-time, and at the end of every goal to restart the game. There's 2 ways that you can take a draw. You can have your right hand at the top, and that would be a push draw, or you can have your left hand at the top, and it would be a pull draw. Once both players are lined up for the draw, the umpire will say set. Once the umpire says set, if there's any movement from either player before the whistle goes, the umpire will give the ball to the opposition, and the game would start from there. The draw is crucial. To get the ball from the draw, you need possession. Obviously, if you have possession, you can then score a goal. So the draw is probably one of the most crucial parts of the game.
Lacrosse is a really simple game. You just have to try and move the ball down the pitch and end up scoring in a goal like the one just behind me. And to move the ball down the pitch, or transition it as we call it, you pass and catch with your teammates because that's much faster than somebody just running with the ball. In order to catch the ball, you have to try and really cushion your stick back. If you just have your stick stationary, the ball will just drop out. So you have to cushion your stick back towards your body. Imagine you're catching something like an egg or a water bomb. And once you've brought it back, you have to do something that we call cradling. And this enables you to run, change direction, and keep the ball stuck in your stick where you want it, nice and safe. When you see the opportunity to pass, you have to extend your top hand and end with your stick pointing towards the place you want it to go. However, it's not always as simple as that. Sometimes you might have to catch and pass with the wrong side of your body, or here with your reverse stick hand, as we call it. Sometimes you have to bring your stick low to throw and catch, and sometimes you might throw in something really sneaky, like a behind the back pass, to really keep your defenders on their toes.
So one of the unique things about lacrosse is the fact that you can go from behind the goal. You can use the crease, which is the circle around the goal, which only the goalkeeper is allowed in. You can use that to your advantage as an attacker and really try and beat your defender using that. So you can try and beat them with pure speed, you can try and roll around them, kind of duck underneath them or roll back. It's a really good way to get a close range shot on goal and catch your defender off guard.